Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So make sure, if you have not already, to like and subscribe. We have a lot of news to discuss today. Some really interesting news has come out in the last 24 hours and I'm not really seeing that much coverage on it on social media, on cryptocurrency, Twitter and everything like that. So I want to discuss this today. We are going to be discussing about the SEC shifting its focus away from the cryptocurrency space. We're going to be talking about Twitter or X's new in-app trading platform plans, and we're going to take a look at what's happening with Coinbase now. So Coinbase are looking to completely file a motion to dismiss the entire lawsuit that the SEC have against them. So that's three major stories today. We need to discuss this all. It is Friday as well. Happy Friday. Please don't forget to like today's video if you haven't already. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin first of all. See what's going on. Good morning, Colin, in the chat today. If you are watching along, make sure to comment in the chat and join in on the fun. So we have Bitcoin here trading at $29,160, up a huge 0.08% in the last 24 hours. Sadly, not seeing much movement once again here, and Ethereum is very similar, up 0.11% to 1,835. We could be seeing a lot more here, but it seems that we are in for some more sideways action. We did analyze the price of Bitcoin yesterday, and I gave this opinion, but we'll do it again today. We'll take a look at the price of Bitcoin, at the price of Ethereum, and see what we can conclude from this. Let's first of all, though, take a look at the price of Bitcoin and see what's going on here. So the biggest story of the day, I believe, is the one about Gary Gensler and the SEC. So Gary Gensler is going to pivot the agency's attention to AI, saying we can get to crypto later. So very shocking news here. Now, the SEC have been firing arrows at the cryptocurrency space for the last couple of months repeatedly. We've had targets to Coinbase, Binance, Gemini, and many altcoins, saying that they are all securities. In fact, he potentially said allegations have been made that he has said every cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin is a security. He's been firing all of these shots at the space, and then he's just said, you know what, we'll just deal with that later. He's just created a mess, dropped the bomb, and then just said, we need to focus on something else now. We need to focus on AI. So that's what's happening right now. Obviously, there are two very big markets that are growing at a very fast pace. So the SEC is trying to regulate and they need to try and get on top of both of these industries at once. What we can see here in this article is that they have said Gensler, who has been confronting an industry he claims is replete with scams and fraud in cryptocurrency, is now trading his attention on AI, a technology he regards as the most transformative of this generation. As AI begins to automate many human processes in finance, Gensler warns of the dangers it might pose if left unchecked. So technology and market risk, this is something that Gensler and the SEC need to get on top of. Essentially, what the SEC does is it regulates industries to try and help investors and protect investors in different ways. We have two emerging markets right now. They're trying to regulate both of them, not in the best way possible at all. As I always say, the problems with the SEC and with Gary Gensler is because there's no transparency, there's no clarity, there's no clear framework for new technologies to abide by, and then they go and fire loads of shots and say, look, you're not following the rules. But if you make the rules clear, we do want to follow them. That's the problem we have here. But we are now seeing that he is pivoting his focus to AI and says we can get to crypto later. So does this leave us a time frame for cryptocurrency to really explode now? Are we going to see a lot of benefits from this? What we've seen so far is Gary Gensler punching the cryptocurrency space as hard as he can, but we have now seen BlackRock and many others file for spot Bitcoin ETFs with the SEC. We're also seeing Ethereum future ETF applications as well from many big players. So with this, when they've got all of these things on their hands and they're choosing to shift their focus to AI, does this mean that we're going to see a little bit less anger being thrown at the cryptocurrency space? We're going to have to wait and see. But very interesting story there. Definitely one that we need to be talking about a lot more. I've really not seen much about that on cryptocurrency Twitter this morning. So I might open a conversation about that later today. Let's continue with today's news and see what else is going on. Continuing with the SEC, they have charged 18 people in $50 million crypto fraud scheme. I will drop the link to this in today's chat, but I don't think this is something we need to discuss in too much detail this morning. Let's see what's going on in the chat today. I've just sent the wrong thing into the chat. Let's try again. I am Maggie says, hi Jess, I hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for tuning in, Maggie. Please don't forget to like today's video. Thank you very much for commenting. What else do we have in here? USDT versus Binance, interesting. We have Lord Spud saying like, yes, please like today's stream. Jerome says Gensler wants to be the police of everything. It looks like he's got his hands in too many pies right now. It's going to be difficult to regulate everything at once here. They have asked for a bigger budget within the last couple of weeks to try and regulate AI and cryptocurrency because there's a lot to be done right now. But we'll see what happens there. Let's continue on to the next article. So we have Coinbase to file motion to dismiss the SEC lawsuit in its entirety. So this is a big story here today. Obviously, the SEC filed a lawsuit against Coinbase just in May this year, I want to say. Maybe that's too soon. Maybe June this year. So that was accusing Coinbase as operating as an unregistered securities exchange and offering unregistered securities. And within those lawsuits, the SEC listed many different altcoins as securities for the first time. So it's been a really interesting few weeks since this case. We did see Binance being sued with a similar lawsuit just a day after the Coinbase lawsuit. But since then, Coinbase have said, we're not unlisting any of the tokens that you've named as securities. We're holding strong on this. We need clarity on the regulation, and you can't just file lawsuits and expect us all to abide by them when we still don't understand where these lawsuits have got their framework, where the groundwork for this lawsuit has come from. The regulation isn't clear. So if you're saying, okay, these are securities, tell us why they're securities. Show us the framework that you're using to determine their securities. And if you can do that, then we'll understand a little bit more and we can all continue to build and work forwards. But if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to provide any transparency and you're regulating by enforcement, how can we continue to be an industry here? So Coinbase have put their foot down and said, we're not delisting any tokens that you determine to be securities until we have some clarity on regulation. Now, we did hear from Brian Armstrong earlier this week saying that he had had a conversation with the SEC and they had said you need to delist every single token that is not Bitcoin on your exchange. Now, Brian Armstrong had said that will kill the industry in the US. That will kill crypto in the US. That is not what we need to do here. This is a growing industry, and if you don't continue to let the industry grow, you will lose that first mover advantage. And that is what we're seeing here. America are putting themselves many steps behind other regions that are trying to step forward and adapt to this new technology and see the benefits of it and try and work with it. Trying to work against it is only going to work in the short term. So what we're seeing here now is Coinbase is trying to file a motion to dismiss the entire lawsuit in its entirety. So we'll see how this plays out. It could be a very, very interesting one. Now, I would like to point out there is a big difference between the Coinbase lawsuit and the Binance lawsuit. So Coinbase has been accused of being an unregistered securities exchange, so offering unregistered securities to its users. But Binance's was a little bit more in depth. So it had that, and then it had the extra things of having money moved between its affiliates and a little bit more complex. So the Coinbase was just a straight out, the tokens you're offering are unregistered securities, and that's the problems that are arising from that. So we'll see how this plays out. We can see in this article, Coinbase have declared the internet we know today, brimming with tools and technology, came from the relentless efforts of a community, small in number but big in vision. Crypto, we believe, is a similar trajectory. We're still at the dawn of the crypto industry, a situation reminiscent of the internet's earliest days. So we'll see how this plays out. It will be a very interesting one. The SEC are now shifting their focus away from the cryptocurrency space, so we'll see how this goes. I'll drop the link to this in today's chat as well. Let's see what's going on here. Jerome says that's not a kiss, it's called X now. Talking about crypto, Twitter now, are we? What have I missed? Morning, Jess. Morning, James. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, let's see what's going on here. We have another story, and then we're going to get on to the plans from Twitter or X and see what's going on there. So we have here, first of all, Coinbase reports $708 million in quarterly revenue, but overall net loss ahead of Base launch. Now, we've seen tokens on Base pump within the last couple of days. We've seen meme coins Base, Coin and Bold pump very, very nicely and then have big rug pulls. So we've seen some tokens on the platform already. This is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So what we are seeing here is they have reported $708 million in quarterly revenue, but overall net loss. Obviously, they're putting a lot of work into this layer 2 solution. So we'll see how it performs when it launches. It is expected to launch very, very soon. In fact, I think we have another article in here somewhere. Let's see if we can find it in here. This is the one. Coinbase is set to launch their layer 2 network Base on the 9th of August. So Coinbase's layer 2 solution is set to finally release its mainnet on the 9th of August as part of their on-chain summer festival. So Coinbase, the largest publicly traded US cryptocurrency exchange, has announced the public release of its layer 2 blockchain called Base, which was built using Optimism's OP stack. Now we all know this. We all know that those tokens, those meme coins performed there was a big pump and then there was a big dump on many meme coins earlier this week. They've been the talk of the town, and now we are seeing, obviously, that the actual chain is going live on the 9th of August there. So we'll see how that goes. Let's continue with the next article here. The next one here is about Twitter, about X. X has plans for an in-app trading platform. Now, we all know, obviously, Elon Musk has bought Twitter now, renamed it to X, and he's also a big, big fan of Doge. Now, if we go to Elon Musk's, let me pull this out and see if we can get this up. If we go to Elon Musk's Twitter profile, you can see that he has the Doge symbol right here in his location there. So we know he's still a fan of Doge. And what we are seeing is potential for an in-app trading platform. Now, we know that he wants to make X the everything app. And with that, if he was to make an in-app trading platform, would that include cryptocurrencies? Would cryptocurrencies be listed on that platform? And if it did, that would create a huge amount of exposure for the cryptocurrency space. A lot of people are now taking cryptocurrency more seriously off the back of these ETFs, off the back of just seeing it around more. What we see in the bull market is a lot of people get FOMO and want to invest into cryptocurrency because they see it being talked about over and over again. Now, with ETFs and people realizing that big institutions like BlackRock are behind cryptocurrency, and with things like this, where we're seeing it's involved in our day-to-day apps, we can see it on Twitter. When we log into Twitter, we have the ability to buy it right there. When you see you can log into PayPal and you can buy it right there, people seeing this more and more is going to get more and more people interested, and the more people that are interested, the more we see adoption, the higher the price goes. What's going to happen is the more adoption we get, with a set for a Bitcoin, for example, with a set limit for the supply, the more the demand increases, the higher the price somebody is going to pay to get your Bitcoin. It's going to continue to increase as adoption and demand increases. That's how supply and demand works. So what we're seeing here is X has plans for an in-app trading platform. Is this going to include cryptocurrency? That is the question. Now, we do know Elon Musk is a big Doge fan. He's very heavily involved in the cryptocurrency space. So this is a question we don't yet have the answer to, but we are sitting close and seeing here. So X has previously looked to stocks and crypto. There is no indication of whether X's trading plans could involve cryptocurrency. However, past developments provide some hints in this area. So, while it operated under the Twitter brand and introduced certain basic trading features, the company currently integrates price charts from TradingView, which are displayed when users search for a stock ticker. The feature has included certain cryptos such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if we search Bitcoin here, I've still not taken a look at this properly. If we search Bitcoin, it should, here we go. This is what that article is talking about there. You can actually see the price of Bitcoin right off the bat. And I think you can do the same for Ethereum. Let's check that. Ethereum search. And I wonder if we can do the same for Doge. Let's see if that works too. Yes, it does. It's taking a minute to load, but I think it's going to be in there. So what we are seeing here is they've already integrated this in for cryptocurrency on the platform, showing that they are still interested in these tokens. If they make an in-app trading platform for Twitter and it includes cryptocurrencies, that's a massive win for the cryptocurrency space again. Let's continue on with the news though and see what else is going on. Before we continue, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. As I said, we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and press that bell notification button. Let me have a quick sip of my drink. Perfect. Let's see what else is going on here. So we have Department of Justice is considering fraud charges against Binance. Now we are seeing them have concerns around this actually. So the Department of Justice are being fearful around this area. If they charge Binance with fraud, then what we're going to see is potentially a bank run on Binance and a similar situation to FTX. That's what the Department of Justice are worried about here. So they're trying to look at other ways that they can resolve this problem with Binance right now. What we are actually seeing with Binance as well is Binance have actually had internal discussions and had an internal board vote on whether they should leave the US essentially, get rid of Binance.us and just work and focus their efforts in other areas, in which they are much more welcomed. Like we're seeing in the US over and over again, the SEC is charging cryptocurrency companies. It doesn't want cryptocurrency to grow in the US. So why are they still trying to put all their efforts in the US when they have growing markets elsewhere? We know that Binance's most prominent market is still China, despite it having an outright ban on trading and on mining. So with that in mind, if the US is not their most prominent market, if the US is causing all of these problems, why are they still focusing all their efforts in the US? Why not go a little bit more afield, continue building elsewhere? So that's been actually an internal vote in Binance. It's still unclear as to what decision has been made here, but we will be seeing how this plays out in the next couple of days, I imagine. And what we are also seeing, as I've just said, is China are continuing to trade on Bitcoin. They have an outright ban on mining and trading in the region, yet they are Binance's most prominent market. So that's a little bit of a sign there of what's actually going on. And a lot of people believe that Asia are going to actually be the trigger for the next bull market, and they're going to drive the next bull market. And that is something I do firmly believe in as well. Let's continue with this though. So the Department of Justice is considering fraud charges against Binance, but they are worried that prosecuting Binance will cause harm to customers and the cryptocurrency space. They are looking at alternative ways to regulate the company essentially, but we'll keep an eye on this. As I just said, they may be leaving the US altogether. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's take a look here. Fraser S says the SEC needs to take a day off. Well, they are actually taking a step away from cryptocurrency. If you have just joined today's stream, make sure to go back to the start at the end and make sure you watch it all thoroughly. Also, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We have 2 articles left, and then we're going to get onto the price of Bitcoin, analysing that and seeing what is going on. Randy says, good morning, good morning. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. It's a bit early for a Coke this morning, but here we are. Let's see what's going on here. MicroStrategy is a sports car. ETFs are a super tanker, according to Michael Saylor. So MicroStrategy's former CEO and Bitcoin maximalist, Michael Saylor, has had his say on the pending spot Bitcoin ETF applications. So we all know Michael Saylor is a Bitcoin maximalist, a super big fan of Bitcoin here. And what we can see here is an interview with CNBC. Saylor discussed Bitcoin MicroStrategy and several other topics, one being spot Bitcoin ETFs. And Saylor stated, we are a unique instrument. We are the sports car, whereas the spot ETF is going to be the super tanker. His comments come after an influx of spot Bitcoin ETF applications to the SEC. So what we can see here is BlackRock have applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF. We all know this by now. We know MicroStrategy have just added to their holdings. And we can see here the size of this application from BlackRock. We're going to see a huge opportunity here. As I keep saying, if you take a look at the price of gold before and after an ETF launched, there's a dramatic change in the way that gold is traded. And that is something that you can see could be very similar for Bitcoin. When Bitcoin has an ETF, the amount of adoption may increase dramatically. And that is why we're all so excited about that in this space. Let's continue on to the next article here and see what else is going on. So, Binance launches FDUSD trading pairs for Bitcoin and ETC. So they've added support for FDUSD trading pairs, which include zero maker fees. So big change there. This is a first digital USD, and it appears to be a new stablecoin with data on crypto saving experts only dating back to 26th of July. At the time of writing, FDUSD has a market cap of $258 million and claims to be a one-to-one USD backed fiat-backed stablecoin. Therefore, it's another fiat-backed stablecoin like USDC and USDT. So if you want to know more about that, I'll drop the link to that in the chat. But let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin. Let's analyze that and see what is in store here. So we have, first of all, let's go to BTC USD. Let's just go to USD here, and then we can start all these lines from scratch, actually. So somebody sent, James says, don't drink fat Coke, Jess. It goes direct to your waist. There are 10 cubes of sugar in one can. This is Coke Zero. This is okay, I think. I don't know. A lot of people say there's lots of things wrong with Coke Zero as well. Let's continue with today's stream and see what else is going on here. So we have MACD. Let's get the MACD up. MACD, here we go. And let's get the RSI up as well while we're here. So what we can see here is, it's very hot under these lights, very, very hot. What we can see here is on the 4-hour chart, MACD neutral, RSI neutral, 2-hour chart, the exact same, 1-hour chart, the exact same, 45-minute chart, the exact same, 30-minute chart, the exact same. So what we are seeing here is really not enough movement. We are seeing a whole lot of sideways action once again. Taking a look at the daily chart, show us something, indicate something. No, really, really neutral there once again. So what we are seeing here is some sideways action. If we take a look at what has happened here, we are in a 1 month range of sideways. We had a 1 month period of sideways action. We broke to the downside marginally, and now we are seeing some more sideways action. So as I've been discussing in these streams, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it today. If you want more detail about why I think there's going to be a lot of sideways action in the next 9 months, take a look at the end of yesterday's stream on this channel. But what we can see here is we've got a lot of sideways action. I mean, to be fair, we had a whole lot here as well. And I think what is the potential for the next couple of months is we are going to continue to see these small breakdowns, but these slow sideways action periods in between. Unless we see some massive news like the ETFs being accepted or some horrific news, I think we are going to have a pretty boring 9 months. And that is what's going to kill us here. Like, usually we all say we hate the idea of downwards movement. Downwards movement would be terrible. Imagine 9 months of sideways action. That will kill all interest in the space for a lot of people. So that is what I think we're going to see. But who knows? Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and see what's going on here. So obviously you can see we have a level of resistance here that we've been holding onto pretty closely. This is currently at the $29,500 level. We also have this level of previous support, which could be acting as a level of resistance now as well. So this is from this point here, and that is at the $29,750 level. And what we can see as well is we have some levels of support too. Now these levels of support don't look as strong as those levels of resistance, I say with a little bit of sadness there. So you can see these levels of this level of support, this previous level of support that is now acting as a resistance that will be pretty strong. We have this level of resistance that has been tested 3 times, so that will be pretty strong. And then when we take a look at the levels of support in the short term, I mean, you can see we've got one here. But still, it's not looking super strong. And then you can see we have one here as well. Now, obviously, on the bigger time frames, we have some more as well. So let's go into the daily chart and see what's going on here. If we take a look at the weekly chart here and reset that time frame, you can see we definitely have a level of support from here at 28,600, and that's from that low back in June 2021. And then you can see that we have a previous level of resistance at this point here at $24,400 from this point and this point here, and we've rebounced that and used that as a level of support once again. So I do think that is a level of support here if we are to go that low. But as I said, I'm expecting more sideways action. I'm not expecting a movement in either direction just yet. We may see some wicks that break out, that liquidate some people, some bears, some bulls over and over again. But I do think that sideways action is going to be the killer for the second half of this year. But we'll have to wait and see. It might get interesting. Things might warm up. The volumes might pick up again. Let's take a look at the volumes now. Volume, let's see what's volumina. Here we go. What we can see here is the volume's really dropped off a cliff, and it has done for a long period of time now. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't think we're going to see another bull market. I really do think we are going to. I look at the previous 4-year cycles and I project that onto the current market condition, and I think we are going to see a nice rise and a new all-time high at some point next year. I'm just saying, until we get to that point, we've got a long road ahead where we really don't have much room for movement. So that's why I'm big on that sideways action for now. And it's not what I want to see. Obviously, I'm a trader. I like volatility. And it's not what a lot of you guys like to see as well. And it's not really entertaining content when it goes sideways. So I would appreciate if Bitcoin moved. But this is what we've got to deal with right now. That is all we have for today's stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. And I will see you all back here on Monday with another live stream.